Hi, my name is Minibus. I'm head of product development here at Simformer, and I will be guiding you today through our demo day. You will have a possibility to experience the Simformer Business Simulation in a pretty simple setup, just to show how the whole thing works and what kind of possibilities are presented to those who are participating from the student point of view. Let's get started, shall we? So, the program we plan to have so far, it takes us around 2.5, or about 3 hours if you want, could be less. So we spent around 15 minutes trying to log in, and most of us succeeded. And some, well, we'll solve those problems pretty soon. Now, the first hour is an introduction where I will show you the game mechanics, as well as we will explore the interface, and you'll be given some time to jump in and actually try out various features and actually improve or optimize certain of the performance of your virtual companies you have already seen or will see. And the same structure will be going through the second hour, or turn 2. Just let's say we'll be exploring a little bit different business units. Well, you will see a different product line in overall. And in final hour, what we will see, we will simply finalize the results, see who will be the winning one, and we'll have some overview and answering questions and answers session as well. So, roughly speaking about the environment, for those who are familiar or not, and who, let's say, less familiar, Simformer Business Simulation is an environment, sort of a mixture of massive multi-user online solution with a classical business simulation. So it's concentrated time effect, which means turn-based. What you do is simply connect there with a lot of different people, and in the whole environment you have opportunity to develop a large or small of various different business models when you develop your virtual company. So we're speaking about 25 plus industries, over 200 different products, 35 countries, 300 cities, and so on, so on, so on, so on. So it's a big, really big environment, but this time, and specifically for this case, as one of the cases for any kind of training, we have a slimmed down, a trimmed down version or scaled down version, specifically for showing you the possibilities of the simulation. So, as you have already seen, we have 2 countries. And we have our business units in 2 countries. So we have 2 offices, German and Spanish one, and also the store in Germany. A factory that makes clothes or t-shirts is in Germany as well, while a sheep farm that produces wool, and also weaving factory is in Spain. So roughly speaking, what we have to do, and roughly, the purpose of this little game is to manage the business value chain, to understand how it works, to optimize it, and, if possible, and if you maybe will be able to do that, simply to expand and grow your business, if you will make that in time, that is. Now, as the first turn already started, let's get busy, shall we? So, roughly speaking, what do we do when we manage the stores? And I'll start with the stores because differently from manufacturing, the retail part, the real retail business overall, is a lot faster. So it is quite necessary to have your sales channels up and running to have a constant flow of cash. So in this case, that's the fastest type of business we have. Retail trade. Another part one is the retail services. But about them, maybe a different time, a different game. Now, the retail business looks quite simple, right? You buy from suppliers, you form your product mix, you get a proper pricing, having a proper margin on the product, and sell it to the buyers. Well, yes and no. There are a lot more things involved, and specifically in our simulation, the marketing, or specifically retail trade business, is a proper implementation and good example how it represents all main piece of the marketing, which means you have a product mix. You choose the products, their quality and features, and specifically what kind of product you choose. They fall under different categories because in this specific simulation, in SBS Intensive, we have 3 categories of goods for retail trade. As you can see, these are automotive goods, the apparel, and the foodstuff. These are consumed at a different rate. These have different elasticity regarding from demand to price, and naturally different kind of margins, and naturally possibilities to make money. So therefore, when you form and work with these, and we'll be focusing in these games mostly on clothes and shoes, you have a possibility to form your own product. Naturally, pricing is something you do on your own depending on the market analysis. The place is where you sell those goods. So that's a store specifically, as well as personnel, people that work and can make contact with the final clients and sell those goods. And finally, promotion or advertising. Well, all the four marketing P's are here. Well, 1/5, which at some point, and depending on the strategies and then theories, either they're 4Ps, 7Ps, well, we can find different angles. But still, these are the main, and you can manage all of these and try out different combinations and see how well they have to work together if you have a pretty clear description, or let's say a clear view of your marketing strategy. So you can implement that here in our simulation. So main thing is really about, let's speak about product and price. Well, technically how product quality influences the price. Let's take, for example, a motorcycle. There are two main indicators. The price is the one that your consumers will be paying for it, and the quality. Naturally, in our simulation, as this is a quality versus cost model, the higher is the quality, and quality is a numeric value that represents the features and overall quality of the good. So the higher is and technologically advanced as well. So the higher is the value of quality, either 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 12, or whatever, the higher can be the price. And roughly speaking, you have opportunity by having higher price, a higher quality of the product, you can ask for a higher price. Because in the eyes of the consumer, that good is better. If, let's say, we compare a competitor that has quality 1 product in his store and asks for a certain price. You, by having quality 2 product in your store, well, quality 2 motorcycle, which is already better, have two choices. 1, sell for the same price as your competitor, and 2, sell for a higher price. Both cases are good. 1, you have higher quality of the product, which means you have competitive advantage, meaning that if you sell for the same price as your competitor, you gain your profits from the volume of the sales, from sheer quantity, and at the same time you give opportunity for larger area, let's say larger amount of people to purchase this. If, however, you choose to sell for a higher price, that means you will earn your, say, profits from the margin. As the quality rises, the strategy is still roughly the same. And this is roughly for simple description, but still that's the connection between quality and price. I'm going to say prioritization by the end consumer and why he or she or they should buy it. Now let's move on to the location. So now that you know, let's say, how to form the product and why certain, let's say, prices and qualities, quality combinations can be chosen, and why it is better to say higher quality. Another question is really about the place. So the place or the location is where your store is. In our simulation, every city, and in intensive simulation, those are 5 countries and over 120 cities, we have 5 districts: trendy neighborhood, city center, residential area, outskirts, and suburbs. As you can see, the rent rises as we move towards city center and trendy neighborhood. The concentration of people also rises, so we can find more visitors there. However, there is a difference in people that you can find in those regions as well, so specific districts. So as you can see, when you move towards city center and trendy neighborhood, you can find there the most quality sensitive ones. They're willing to pay higher prices for the highest quality of the specific product. And while as you move out of the city, what you can find there is a price-sensitive people, the price-sensitive consumers. Quality or service of the quality of the service, or specifically the location, the design, is not the primary option for them, or intent, or let's say how important it is for them. Not their primarily goal or priority. Naturally, what this helps you to do is simply differentiate the market or segment the market, in other words. What you do, you simply jump in and make your choice. All right? So defining a specific strategy, what you want to sell, rather high quality of goods for a high price in a small store somewhere in the trendy neighborhood, or maybe you want to create a small, well, something very big for a, let's say, areas a little bit more distant from the city. Now, as we studied already about the size, there's another feature of our stores is that you can choose 5 sizes. The bigger is the store, the bigger is the rent, naturally. But you can store more goods in there, more visitors can come in, you can literally do more sales and naturally hire more people. But for the bigger is the store, the more people you need, that means your HR expenses will also rise, and you have to be ready for that. As you can see, there are 5 sizes: 100, 500, 1,000, 10,000, and 100,000 square meters in size. Naturally, thinking about the previous slide, when you create a certain segmentation of the market and you're trying to sell, you have to be pretty much sure that this market will be able to buy all those goods you will place in that specific store. And that naturally is only part of the whole marketing mix you're planning. Now, another P is the personnel. The people that will be working with your clients and that will be servicing your visitors and helping them to become your client. Specifically, this is your employees or personnel or employees, or in other words, this is implementing your HR strategy. What you're seeing now here on the left is great. Actually, a screenshot from the interface. You will be able to have an interactive part here. But what you need to know is that you have 2 choices here. One is the amount of employees, and 2, the salary. These both can be either input manually or actually chosen with the slider. Now, what the salary size affects is the expected level of staff qualification. Now, the qualification defines the level and quality of service provided to the consumers, right, to the visitors of your store. What is a lot more important is the city average and required values right next to it in the brackets, because the city average reflects the average quality of service expected by the inhabitants of this specific city, and while required, it shows the expected qualification that is needed to efficiently sell the goods in the store. There are a couple of variables that influences the required value. One is the district. The higher is, let's say, the more of a central oriented, for example, like city center or trendy neighborhood oriented stores are, the higher is the qualification needed, because, let's say, the higher quality demand is there. Now, naturally, that means that you have to have qualified personnel and salespeople to be able to work with those needy clients. And if you're moving towards the suburbs, then required value is lower. Naturally, you can surpass the city average. And these are things you have to consider. The 3 things that affect the customer satisfaction and sales. As you can see, if you choose low satisfaction, it's pretty much low customer satisfaction and sales due to low qualification. But naturally, we would think, okay, highest customer satisfaction and sales, this is exactly what I need, so we will go to the right. The problem is, however, that it is quite costly. And it's money question, really, or have to be economical here. Find the optimum value, that would work for you, and don't overpay it, because the higher is the cost, the higher are the costs for your HR, less profits you make. And that means you're decreasing your chances to win. So you have to be careful here as well. Either way, this is a great way to know that you can affect the sales indirectly by working with the quality of the qualification and level of qualification while managing the personnel. And at the same time, that way you can affect how they work with your clients. And final P is the promotion, or in other words, advertising. So what you will see here is that within the simulation, you will find that you can advertise by using 5 media channels and choose any way and mix up them any way you want. What is important to know that every media channel has a minimal amount, a minimum budget, let's put it this way. It will have a certain contact price, a minimum amount, minimum budget, and number of contracts. Now, the bigger is you can actually input the expenses per week. You can input them manually. They will not be able to be less than the minimal amount, but still that will increase your number of contacts that you can generate. Now, if you want the whole city to know about your store, like in this case with the population of 2.6 million, what you have to do is cover the city population 3 times with the contacts, which means it's around 7 or 8 million contacts. That means the whole population knows about your store, where it is, and all that. Great. Great business opportunity, right? Well, is that not exactly? Here's the thing you need to know. The efficiency, as we can see, is 0 right now, will be calculated in the closest recalculation after you start advertising. The idea is that when you generate a certain amount of visitors or a big flow of visitors into your store, and you don't have the necessary potential to serve all those clients, the efficiency of advertising will be dropping. That means a certain store size, as well as employee quantity and their qualification, is needed to be able and to be ready for that kind of increase in visitor flow, including amount of goods you sell. So you have to be careful because efficiency, well, technically you want it to have it 100%. Otherwise, you're wasting your money. And that means you will need to optimize the budget you're working with. So these are our main P's. And one more thing you need to know when you start working with our simulation. So this is a turn-based solution that is available for you in a simple browser. There are a couple of actions and they differ. If you choose a location for your store, either you open a new store or you choose to relocate the store into a different district or increase the size, the rental will be made during the same virtual week. In this case, during the same hour, or in other words, almost instantaneously. However, if you order goods to be delivered to your store in order for them to be sold, you will have to wait for 1 hour. In other words, for a week. During your calculation, the system will complete the purchase, will transfer the goods, transfer the money, you will receive the goods, but we have less money afterwards after you pay for them. Naturally, the sales happen the same way. You have to put up a price after you receive the goods, and after the closest recalculation, the purchase is complete, the goods are transferred, money is transferred, and you receive that money as well as necessary statistics to make future decisions. That is something you have to be aware of. And the first thing we do when we manage stores is actually we manage the supply chain. So now let me show you the simulation itself. This is your business, ladies and gentlemen. The offices, the sheep farm, the weaving mill, clothing factory, and finally the store. Anything that is in blue is interactive. So this is a link. This is a browser-based solution. Clicking on it will bring you into your specific business unit. And also you can see the size. So either that is, well, as you can see, 100 square meters, as well as you can see the city and the product thing this store is selling. By clicking on it, you will fall deeper into the store management tab, where you can access the store management with the location and other units, as well as trade hall, supply, marketing, and financial reports. So once again, if you take a look at the right side, you can see a lot of text in blue. So this is also the management part, what is interactive. By clicking on it, you can literally open and choose a certain feature. For example, by clicking on store location, you can choose to move your store to a different location. As you can see, the price per square meter the rent price per square meter is higher in the trading neighborhood, and as you move out of the city, it's cheaper. As well as you can choose to increase the store size. For example, I'll do something like this, just make it bigger. So, and then don't forget to move store to new location. Otherwise, the system will not receive your decision and it will be kept small as it was previously. Now, the number of employees. Also, you will see the rent expenses, so you will know how much you pay for the store per week. The number of departments. The more goods from different categories you have, the more departments are open. So specifically, if you open up food, that's already two. This store actually sells only clothing. So if you choose to sell also motorcycles and also food, that means you will have three departments overall. Now, the system will give you a recommendation regarding calculations were done previously. The original size was 100 square meters. After the closest recalculation, the system will analyze your decision, your size of the unit if you changed it, and then is that number of employees enough? And it will give its recommendation. So considering I increase the size of employee, the amount of employees I'm having, I would actually choose to hire more. How do I do that? I go to employees and salaries, and that's exactly, once again, on the right side. And as you can see, quite a familiar view from the presentation, from the slides. There are the numbers I want, let's say, changed to 15. Now, this salary generates 6.2 qualification, which we compare to city average and the amount required. If we increase it, it goes higher and higher and higher, but naturally that means I would paying a quite high price from original or average city salary, which means that's quite expensive. So how about I keep it that initial, oh, how about that? No, okay. 40, 50, there we are. Perfect. There's also opportunity to use the HR department, but considering this is a short game, we can cover that in the other game. All right, so let's just do it manually because it's more fun. And save changes, always remember to click on save changes. Now, you'll be warned that you are hiring additional people, and that means you're spending money. Okay, I don't mind. There we are. The system has received. So as the relocation, the movement, the increase of the size of relocation to a different district, the number of employees or HR or order for hiring new people is implemented during the same week, which means there we have it. And there it is. Now, another part as we move down lower, we can see the staff efficiency. Depending on the recalculation and results, the staff efficiency will be either 100% or less. Usually it's less when there are two things. We don't have enough employees, or the qualification of the employees is lower the required one, which means there is a problem and definitely we have to raise it. There is also opportunity to raise permanently the qualification of employees given this specific amount or this specific personnel by clicking on employee training. And this is an opportunity to train your employees either 1, 2, 3, or 4 weeks. And we can see the results of the training right away right here. So changing the duration. So the longer is the training, the higher is the qualification in the end, but that also costs more. But this is a one-time investment, and in the end, we will simply have higher qualification as it is. The problem is that if you choose to expand later on and hire new employees, there will be a mix between a group of trained old-timers and newcomers, and in the old, the new guys will affect the average qualification as negative because, well, it will be lower. So you might need to train them again. The good part is that you will not need to raise the salaries. You simply will have to train them. So it's up to you what kind of strategy you choose. And finally, you can also put up them on holiday, paying them half the salary, but then you simply freeze the business unit if necessary. For example, you run out of goods and you don't know where to get them. And the final P here from this tab is the marketing and advertising, or specifically advertising. The advertising affects two indicators. The popularity, which is a long-term indicator how popular and well-known your store is. And naturally, it grows over time if you advertise your store. And as well as the number of visitors, which means that means the positive way to increase the possible sales. The more you advertise, these two are naturally grow. The popularity, though, is a long-term effect from the advertising, while number of visitors is a short-term effect from the advertising. How does that work? Well, exactly as shown in the slides. Simply choose the media channel, and as you can see, the minimum budget is shown, the number of contacts is shown, contact price is shown as well. And naturally, you can increase this value annually, and then you can see how much it can actually generate, how many contacts it can generate. So let's keep it at a minimum and simply start advertising. And once again, efficiency by default is 100%, but the real value will be shown after the closest recalculation. Finally, the main part of the store, or the heart of the store, or literally where the blood is pumping and actually the flow of cash is coming from. So you received a store with 4 products. So baseball caps, clothes, shoes, underwear. And you received 1,000 units each of quality 2, which is pretty good. The brand value right now, because this is a short game, is only 0. And usually brand value is developed in long-term games. And also you can see the purchasing price of the goods and the sales prices that you can input them manually. So during this hour, you'll be given some time to play around with these variables and try to change something and see what kind of changes it will generate. If you sell enough, you can see the market share. Right now, with these kind of sales, well, there's not much of things that can be done, right? Not much of a sales and not much of a market share. Now, when you choose to decide what kind of price you want to put up for your products, you can see the city averages on the right. You can see the price per week and as well as quality in the city averages. So this is just to help you out. If, however, you want to see more info on the market, what you have to do is click on the icon because it's also interactive. And what will happen that you will be given a market report. So right now, let's say at Hamburg in Germany, we can see the information about the market. So the market development index shows how developed the market is. If it's highly competitive, it can be either A, AA, or even AAA. But then that is the highest competition, the highest development of the market index. The market volume shows how many units were sold over last week, as well as number of merchants and number of companies. Number of merchants shows the number of stores. That means this number can be bigger than the number of companies. Meaning you can open one more than just one store in the city. 5, 6, 7, up to you. Depending on the size of the city, that is, and if those will not compete with each other. Besides these guys, and these are all live participants, and I'm somewhere there as well, what you can see are the local suppliers. So these represent those small kiosks and small stores that don't intend to raise the quality of goods they sell, but they actually represent the lowest value of quality and price that the local population is willing to pay. Naturally, the stores of these live participants are shown next to it. As you can see, your market share of all of us, so live people, is only about 10%. Actually, 1/10 of the 100th of a small amount, roughly speaking. Funny one. The bigger is our market share, the more influence of the market we do. And naturally, local suppliers and local populace follows up. If we raise that quality expectation to be very high, the local suppliers will raise their quality as well, prices as well. So in this case, let's see those competitors. As we can see, there are a lot of others. Silvinvest, Rigla, a lot of companies. They're playing with the different quality and price combos. We can see the store, the district, the sales volume, roughly, the price and quality combination of this specific product. So that's the baseball cap. And what kind of sales are being done here. So roughly speaking, these are top sellers. And not all the participants are here. And most probably we're not even here. But these guys are. So, and some of these actually are from our previous training, as I mentioned, what we had in the morning. Well, Lithuanian time. As you can see here, it's 5:30 p.m. already. So we naturally can see of those pretty active or less active and what they are doing and what kind of goods they are trying to sell here. for what kind of price. At some point, the trendy neighborhood is the most competitive one, and we can see some guys are here. At some point, this is a very good example. The amount, because these two competitors, Silver Invest and Regular 2016, are pretty close, right? But this guy has actually a very good quality service, and this can be seen by this icon. That means his qualification of his personnel is very good and very high. So the store sizes are identical, trendy neighborhood, the same district, but the quality is lower here for the top seller, although the price is even with better quality and low price is still only in 200. Simple is the reason is simple. Most probably the qualification of the personnel is quite lower, and advertising probably is also lower, so but not many people know about it. And due to low qualification of the personnel, the sales are, well, not as good, looking as good as his competitors. What you will do is a different matter. Try and find your combination at this point to try and sell the goods you have for a proper price. So you can find that kind of report by clicking on one of these icons, and it will provide you a separate report. And if we see these numbers and also interactive under sales volume, we will see the sales history. So the last recalculation, that's why I wanted for you to log in before you start. You can see the quantity, quality, and price combination. If you change one of these or other variables or marketing piece of the store, there might be a change, either right away or a little bit later. So every product has its sales, and when you choose after each recalculation, you will see how data is gathered. Now, purchase volume. You can see two zeros. One is interactive, one is not. Here you will see the order of the goods and the amount of units you have decided to buy, and in the brackets will be shown the amount of orders already purchased. So if these numbers will differ, that means one of your suppliers you have chosen failed to provide you the goods you require. Now the purchasing part is the fun part, the supply chain management. What you can do is start choosing the suppliers. There are two types of suppliers, the independent ones and the real people. The real people have a limited amount of products in their stock, and naturally they're more flexible with their pricing and quality combination, usually. I mean, maybe not necessarily. The independent suppliers, though, are the ones that have unlimited amount of goods, but might have limitations on the maximum order. But their price and quality will never change. So it's a good question to whom to buy from. You can also make more than just one order. As you can see, you can type in the amount. You can choose or select the supplier, input the amount or the number of units you want to purchase. You'll be given an overall price, and there are certain additional terms. So these are two limitators. In case you're buying from a real person and he changes the price in the process, and there are limitators. Either the price can increase to a certain by a certain percentage, and if it passes that percentage, the contract is cancelled. Or it can raise, if it is raised to a certain degree, to a certain specific value, once again, the contract is cancelled. And also there's a quality modifier limiter. In other words, if the quality of the goods you're purchasing will drop to a certain value or below a certain value, the contract is cancelled. And it can be one-time purchase. If you do not click on this, then this is an active order that will be made, and you will be buying from this supplier every single turn, which means it's a long-term contract. Place the order, and there it is. As mentioned, you can order, another patch from a different supplier. And what happens is that I'm ordering the same amount from the two suppliers with different prices. As you can see, price delivery and customs is calculated in, depending on the city and country from which this supplier is. There is naturally delivery and customs involved, which raises the price. So you have to be pretty much aware from who you're buying. So also, when you're choosing a product or say supplier, you have to be pretty much aware of the information given up here. So you can choose average value in the cities. Well, and I can choose, you can see that what the price is, what the quality is, and then you can naturally see, is there, well, enough space for a certain margin, and can that product be profitable for you? Let's take a look how that looks. Okay, so this is your active order. You can see the number. Once again, remember, if the bracket number should be 200. If it's not, that means I'm not receiving a certain amount of goods, but in this case, I should receive everything. In Supply tab, you can actually manage those supplies or those orders right away, because this is a list of your active orders. What is important to understand that how by choosing a different goods from different suppliers with different quality values, you can increase, decrease, or simply manage the quality of products that is provided in your store. So let's take a look. If you, for example, in this specific case, I will receive 200 units of baseball caps, and 100 is quality 5, another one is quality 1, which means that overall quality of those 200 will be free. Well, 5 plus 1 divided by 2. Simple. The same average will be calculated with the price, but the only thing that is, so I'll say, summarized is quantity. When that package arrives in the warehouse of the store, and that means in the stock, you will see that the quality once again will be taken in as average, depending on the amount that is left after we sell some certain amount. So naturally, the prime cost will be also taken as an average, as well as the quality. So that's how you manage the quality. If you want to add certain goods from different categories, you have to scroll down a bit and choose we see it here is the list of all products, or simply choose the category you want to add. For example, I want to add a motorcycle. That's exactly what I do. Works absolutely the same way. I just choose to buy, let's say, 5 motorcycles from this guy, and let's make it one-time purchase. And that's it. And here it is. I will receive it next turn. Remember the timing. I'd love to actually buy some tires as well. Who knows? Might actually work. And also one-time order. And there we go. As we will receive them, you will see them here. It's empty here right now, so this is just an order. But this is the information that you can see here, what you have in stock and the quality of the good as well as purchasing price. I have to be careful, because if your price you input is lower than the one given, you will be warned that this is, well, a little bit painful, let's say. You're losing money. After you change the prices, don't forget to click on Set Prices or click Enter. So, for example, if I choose to do something like this and do some changes, all I have to do either press Enter or click Set Prices. That means the screen is reloaded and the system receives the command. Otherwise, the data you've input, you will be lost. So you have to be careful there. So right now, your task is go and take a look at the stores you have in your trade hall. As you can see, I've changed my size. So that's my occupancy. Right now is only 8.42%. In your case, I believe it's a little bit different story. Well, let's take a look at the Matthias company. For a very good example here is that trade hall. Oh, okay. So increase the size as well. Okay. So the occupancy shows how much space the products actually take over, right? So if the store is too small, occupancy will be reaching its 100%. That means it's a dangerous line, because the expenses will grow dramatically because you're, well, overloaded with goods. At the same time, this is a problem because not many people will be able to fit in, and there will be lines forming up. So we have to be careful with the occupancy as well. All in all, when you manage your store, you have to be aware that you have to find an optimum combination of goods you are selling. So when we jump in back a bit, is you have to remember that while you manage all the P's, these are not just separate factors or variables. These are connected. So you have to find the combination that would actually be making a logical solution and sort of leading you towards a very clear plan of actions. Are you willing to go for the premium segment, or maybe mainstream with a little bit lower quality, or maybe going for the economy goods with really low price, low quality, but big stores, lots of space, maybe not that much, not much qualified personnel. It's really up to you. What works and what doesn't, it depends. We don't know. The idea is that the system reacts to the decisions of the participants. And the more there are participants, the more there are variables and the more unpredictable the environment is, because, well, the final rulers, or the true rulers of this virtual environment, are the real life participants. The platform and the simulation itself is oriented towards them, and therefore, depending on their actions, there are different situations. The more competitive the environment, the more development and, well, bloodbath there will be, so figuratively speaking, because competition can be fierce and quite harsh. So what do you have to do right now? And I would be willing to give you some time to go over your marketing piece of the store and try to manage them to optimize the way you think that would work. And then we could see how that works. Did that work or not? Okay, so the time is ticking, and we can see the warning will be in red afterwards, so when you're running out of time. Well, the idea is, roughly speaking, that in the trade hall, you can analyze the market, receive the market reports, you can track the sales history, you can purchase goods and manage your stock that way, as well as manage your prices. So we can see the city averages as well as see a lot of things at the same time in one place. So this is if, let's say, you want to see that. All right. So hopefully that cleared out. Now, what happens after recalculation? Let's see. We reload the screen and we can see that, oh, okay, I've hit the jackpot. Let's put it this way. So I've received my motorcycles and tires first of all, right? Here they are. And I need to put in the prices right now. So this is what happened with the store. I've, well, quite have a good sales as a result. You can see the numbers, and if we click on the link, there's a pop-up, and there you see. So previous week, well, December of the virtual year 12, the last year, I've sold only 12 units, quality 2, for this price, right? So 375. Now, as I did increase the store size and hired additional people and lowered the price, here are my sales for this specific good, so the baseball caps, and that's quite a jump, right? But the bigger is the store, the more it can be sold, the more salespeople. The advertising also helped a lot to attract more people, which was really good. So roughly speaking, right now, I see that with this kind of sales, I definitely need to increase these numbers to, well, I see that the market has the potential to buy these goods for a decent price. And with a decent combination of quality and price, this is quite good. I still have a pretty small share of the market, though, because if we take a look at the situation within the market, we've checked the last hour, right, well, 20 minutes before that. So that was last virtual week. We could see that within the top sellers, so we have the Demo Ltd. That's me. Whoops. But I can see that others are actually pretty close behind and doing pretty good. So that's a great example how that only price and quality combination might not necessarily be the only way to do business. Having the price, I mean, all the product marketing mix and all the P's managed properly increases your chance to sell even a lower quality good with probably not the very competitive price. Well, in the end, it will matter a lot depending on your share size and when you're deciding the size of the share of your market. But right now, it's pretty small, so there's plenty of, well, food, or let's say buyers for everyone, right? But if when you start fighting amongst each other for the market or the share of the market, then the game becomes a lot more interesting. So this is good. I like it. If we take a look at the financial reports, so there are plenty of data. We can see that even though the initial week was not so good. Now I'm doing pretty well. Not much expenses, but quite decent amount of profit. And I can see my sales by product as well as by category. I can also see the income statement and, by the every line of the article. So for week, previous, month, year in total. Well, not much of focusing on this here, but still a pretty good, lots of information to see here. Also analyze the products and their profitability. And by purchases, also see from who I'm buying and what I'm buying and so on and so forth. So this is a lot of data to analyze when you need to manage or optimize the business unit if you have plenty of them, and depending on the scenario as well. So we can see the store main page, which is here, and we can see that recommendations of the regarding employees are now 9, depending on the goods I'm selling, as well as I have elite quality of the service, which is great. Everything is good, and advertising is also at 100%. Last week, I had around 160 something of visitors, if I remember correctly, and had less than 40 popularity. The popularity is growing slowly, but the number of visitors grew quite a lot, around 4 to 5 times. Great. I think that is a great result. Also, we can see that the number of departments now is 2 because I ordered motorcycles and tires. So we can see that this part looks good. We can also take a look at the ratings and see who's on top, and what we can also see, the position of the student. So this has to be free time. And you can see here all the participants that are fighting with each other. You will not see me here because I'm using my coach account. So that's the simple reason. So naturally, here you can see someone who's doing better or not. In the rating, there are, 6, actually a little bit less. There are 3 main things that you need to watch. Over the duration of the game, the cumulative revenue is calculated. Cumulative profit is calculated. Asset value is taken into consideration. The performance indicators shows how well you're doing, and regarding the calculation of all these 3. So the main thing is actually the profit, then the revenue, and then finally assets. The formula can be changed a bit. You can change the coefficients. The cumulative profit receives 0.5, the revenue 0.3, and assets 0.2. Right, so that's what we get, and this is the indicator. So NL Industries are doing actually pretty great. How about we take a look at the company, shall we? So we see that NOM, you're actually doing very well. Okay, so how about you see, you have all the goods you do. Financial report shows us that you also had a very good revenue and profit. Congratulations. Now, even though the first week wasn't quite good, you can see that what we see here is that you can see your rents. You can see that you invest in new advertising, also facility rent, so that means you increased your store size, as well as salaries, personal expenses, and so on and so forth. So this is definitely necessary info. When you start to expand, you naturally go into costs. It's inevitable. The moral question is how well you manage to do it afterwards. Also, what we can see that expenses were not that big in case of Noam, and we can track down what happened, right? So we can see inventory, supplies, and all the other things. If we go to a little bit of subdivisions, we can also take a look at the store. So the store size was only level 2, so that's 500 square meters. And Noam was selling the goods she had. So 8 employees, you increase the amount of employees, and you increase the qualification to be even higher. Good choice. So that's a good thing. With your advertising, you receive 290 new visitors. The reason why it's not, for example, that much as of mine, over 500, because my trade area is simply 2 times bigger than yours. So that's the result. That's much how you can, to a certain extent, fit in. Now, trade hall, pretty decent sales. So I can see a regular sale that you sold out completely. Now the problem is that you will require 1 week to receive new shirts and then to sell them. And this is going to be pretty painful because you will have nothing else to sell. So hopefully, and as you purchase none of them and you had no orders up and running, so that's, let's say, might be painful for the next 3, 4, 5 turns. But as we're playing this game only for 1 turn, then so it's not a big deal. And I can see you did change a bit the prices. So that's exactly what helped you out. Good. And if we see the financial results of this business unit, this is exactly what is happening. So, nice, really nice. In my case, we can also see that in, okay, how about this is interesting. All right. So I look pretty good, but considering that this is my coach account, I can't exactly compete with you all, and that would be unfair. So we can also see that a lot of purchases for filtering and advertising done, and do certain changes. So the main idea is really go through the, let me see just for the moment there, what happened with our dear friend here. All right, so you have bigger one. The main thing is what happens is, oh, this is what you did. Okay, this is what you did. This is actually what we don't usually talk about in the beginning. You see, what happens is that what you do, you purchase a business booster. Oh, in other words, that's an investment into your business. For example, you can open a parking lot. It costs a lot for one time and then a service every turn afterwards for 180 weeks, right? But it will increase your attendance by 50%, which is quite a lot. And naturally, you also can choose to work with a PR agency regarding the rapid popularity growth. One of these can be chosen, but only one. Naturally, there's maintenance, and for example, certain things you can choose. Well, I can't choose anything regarding the sales because my size of the company was already too big, so the business boosters are mostly provided for the small companies. So in this case, there are more than plenty of features and possibilities to expand and do additional things as a result. The idea is that later on I'll give you some time to fill a bit with your stores, a little bit more. But now let's continue with the additional features. So turn 2, congratulations to those who are on top and pretty much close following behind. What you have in your company are 2 factories, right, and a farm. So this is a manufacturing business unit. Well, in other words, production. So main question is how we can use those. And well, not that you will be able to use them very fast, very quickly, because this is a lot slower business, but they can provide you with a certain decent amount of good things already, and you can actually purchase them right away and let's say to have in your stores, and in later turns that would be a lot more important and good deal. So let's take a look. How does production management or production overall works? For example, to have a final product, which is a motorcycle, which can be bought from suppliers, some parts can be bought from suppliers, other things can be bought from suppliers and then sold to the buyers, either stores or warehouses. You need spare parts, or, well, the parts. In this case, because it's a simplified version, a wheel, an engine, and some steel, or steel frame and other things, the wiring and so on and so forth. What do we need to connect these? The answer is simple. Equipment, employees, and know-how. Simple, right? Not necessarily. So how do we manage quality? I mean, how quality is managed when we see a different level of quality, both from materials and then quality of equipment and employee qualification if you optimize them, right? And then how to be seen on the in the final product. Thing actually is quite simple. If you have medium quality materials, but you have very qualified employees with good tools, if the quality, let's say, is minus, then qualification is a plus, and we're somewhere in the middle. And pretty much that's the way it works, right? That's how the quality is managed. If you don't have the highest quality of equipment and employees, you can, let's say, somehow win certain bonus when you buy higher quality materials. Or if you don't have those, you can win by hiring higher qualification of employees, simply finding better workers with better tools. And that's exactly how that works. However, when we add know-how, it's a little bit different story and not that funny. Why? In your factories, you have installed level 4 technology. which means the highest quality of goods you can produce is 6.06. And that's a limiter. You can't jump over that. No matter how good or high quality goods or high quality of equipment and qualification of employees you have, you will be at 6.06. Final. But, and you can spend a lot of money and simply waste them on higher quality materials and higher quality of equipment, but that is probably far from being optimum. I mean, if we look at this from a business perspective, this is what you should aim at. You might get some bonuses and try to be as close as possible. For example, you're a little bit lower than that, and we can try to gain certain bonuses by having a little bit of higher quality of materials. If you can't gain or get exactly needed quality of materials, you can try to have a bonus from a higher quality of equipment and a level of employee qualification. If you go lower, then you're still somewhere below the line. That part is not a problem. But being at the top means you have to optimize it and be careful there to receive the highest quality of equipment. And as you can see, it is important to have high quality of equipment, because the higher the quality of the final product, the higher can be the price you can ask for it. Now, once again, 1 hour equals 1 virtual week. The equipment and new employees you will order will travel to your factory right away. Expansion and opening a new factory will not take 1 week. It will take a lot more time. We'll see that. Order of the goods placed, so you will require 1 week, because this is supply chain. Simply 1 week to receive all the goods. Sorry, you will have to wait. Thus, if you mess up your supply chain, your production will simply stop. And production can be started only when you have the necessary goods, enough of those raw materials. Only then can it be started, and then final things can be produced after the recalculation. Once again, 1 week. And only when you produce them, you can place the price, and after recalculation, receive the goods. Simple, right? Okay, so let's jump into our simulation here. So this is the business. And as you can see, we have a very clear vertically integrated structure of the company. The wool, the fabric out of the wool, the clothes out of the wool, and the store to sell the clothes. Simple, right? Well, not exactly. Here's the little problem. I can't exactly buy from this factory during the reason that there is no price set up. See, that's exactly what's happening. There is no price to set up the sales of the app. Thus, sales is not happening. Oops. And if we take a closer look, that there's also possible shortage of raw materials, which is also a problem. Not good. So let's take a look at the factory. Pretty much similar to what we have in the store. I mean, if you take a closer look at any business unit, it still has a certain main key factors the same way. The size of the unit, well, specialization is a different story. The equipment that is involved, and finally employees. So employees are managed absolutely the same way. What you need to know is the technology level, as well as the required according to the technology level is the level of quality of the equipment, which is right now higher than required. That is great. But you can purchase equipment and manage that, but as well as you have to be aware that equipment has wear and tear, which means you use it, it breaks down. It breaks down. If it breaks down a lot and you don't fix it, the equipment efficiency falls down and overall efficiency of a business unit falls down, which means you produce less or less quality of the goods. Not good. But so you have to manage that. Now, the equipment is purchased a similar way, the way any goods are purchased, is that the only difference is that you see more info about the delivery, customs, and overall total. But when you order a certain amount of goods, for example, here, right away as you input the amount of goods, of equipment you want to purchase, it'll right away will show you how it will change, how it affect your final quality that you will have right now here. So you will see the final amount. And up here in the right corner, you can see current quality, quality required, and equipment installed. So I can either purchase it or not. Well, I'm good so far, so I'm leave it. If you want to increase, it's up to you. The specialization, well, here's the thing. Not every factory, but most of the factories can choose different specializations. So as you can see, if I use raw materials as these, I have opportunity to actually use the same natural fabric or cloth to produce items. It's up to me to decide. So caps here are even better regarding they use less raw materials, right? Well, they're smaller. Don't forget to click on Change Specialization. Changing the size, however, will take a lot more time and will be a lot more costly, because if you want to create new additional workplaces and increase this production volumes, it will cost a lot and it will take more and more time. So you don't have time for that right now. And finally, what you can also do is what you have to take a look at when you see your employees is their qualification. Now, city average is not that important, because what really requires your attention is the number that is required according to the technology. It is affected strongly by the equipment quality you use. The higher is the equipment quality, the higher is the number required by technology. So the more advanced is the equipment you use, the higher the qualification of employees has to be. They have to be smarter and more skilled. Simple, right? And if that's below that is required, staff efficiency will drop. Have to be careful there. Now, it's green at 100%, which is great. Production is a tab which is different from the store, because the store has no production and this is a factory, and we have production tab here. Occupancy, naturally, we can see what is happening in our warehouse. Pretty much similar, but that's a warehouse of the factory. We can see the products we could produce. You can produce only one type of a product at the same time in a factory. The output is how much of these goods are produced during 1 week. All right? So the quality and prime cost of these goods. Right next to it, you can see the quantity, quality, and prime cost of the goods in stock. So these are available for selling. As you can see, there is 0 orders, and available will be the amount that would be diminished by the order volume. It can be 0 as well. So that means you have to increase the sales, the production process, and produce more. In order to sell to somebody, you have to choose a different distribution policy. For example, not for sale to any customer, only to certain companies, only to my company. So for now, I'll choose only to my company and input the value, for example, well, 200, just to cover the things that the costs that are coming in. Now, the same way as is in the amount of units that will be stockpiled in the warehouse, that means the quantity will be added, the quality will be taken as an average, and the prime cost also will be taken as an average. So what you produce will be added to the overall warehouse of the factory, and that will affect the final quantity and quality of the goods, as well as prime cost. Also, if you scroll down a bit, what you will see is the raw materials needed, what is the amount that is required by this specific amount of employees, and as well as what you have in stock. And you will be given notes how much you have and how much will that be enough or not, as well as what is the quality of the goods, because right now the problem is that the quality is below that what should be in accordance to the level of technology. That means that's why I'm not able, that's the reason why I have quality 5.9 and not 6.06. Now, because the quality of raw materials is, as well as the equipment is higher than is needed, the quality of end product is 5.9, not 5.75. So there is a certain bonus. Naturally, if you invest in their qualification and into equipment, there might be a bonus that will even rise even further. Rob, so what kind of combination you choose, it's up to you. Now, I need to supply because I'm running out of goods. So what could I do? Actually, I want to go into my weaving mill because there is production there as well that can be used. And the same way as it was in previous factory, the structure is absolutely the same. What's the difference is the specialization, right? And the product that is produced within this factory. As well as you can see that certain specializations receive certain bonuses on the quality, which I believe this is a good thing. So I choose to sell only to my company for, let's say, 35 and save changes. So everything looks good here so far, but the thing is, same way, I might actually run out of raw materials here. So I have to be careful here, right? So, but before we go to sheep farm, let's finish ordering, huh? In supply tab, we can jump in and click on a green card, and we will open the same supply tab you've seen in the store. So there are a lot of suppliers here, but here in green, I see that that's Demo Ltd, and that's my company. Also, you can click on mine, and there it is. So this is your own factory. You can purchase goods from it. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I also have information about the current quality of raw materials I have, what is required, as well as quantity in stock. So always check the tabs up here because they would give you necessary information. All right, so how about 600? There we are. And we have an order. Yes, and right now. Okay, one sec. Okay, so the order will be shown later on as there will be purchases. Because right now it's already an order, no, it's not a purchase yet. But in clothing factory, that means for the clothing factory, that means that I have an active up and running thing. And all right, one sec. In the weaving mill, we can see the order. So yeah, I'm purchasing from myself, but hey, this is an active order. First ordered, first served. If you receive lots of different orders, the ones that will be provided are the ones that have, well, ordered first. But naturally, you can actually change the order of the change the order the way supplies will be provided to these customers. So you can move up your own factories up, and then move down other clients down if you want to do it that way. It's up to you. So we've covered the factories. You can try and manage the supply part as well as try to order gloves from your own clothing factory, well, simply by inputting the price for the production you already have produced. What we can see here is a sheep farm. So this is the final sort of a manufacturing unit, if we can call that, this agricultural business unit that doesn't work with equipment. It works with livestock. That's sheep. So as you can see, pretty much similar to a factory. The difference is that it doesn't use equipment. So you can change the size. Also takes time, quite costly, but creates, let's say, maximum equipment. That's livestock, and the maximum amount of employees as well. But takes quite a lot of time and costs a lot. Now, specialization is also what can be chosen within the farm. You can choose to grow sheep simply for wool and use a certain type of forage. You can also choose to breed sheep and have also received certain wool as a result. But breeding sheep, that means you will be selling them to other farms as a result. Also, you can have sheep breeding by using different kind of forage, and you will need more of it. There is a certain bonus as a quality modifier, which is a bonus. But if you choose, for example, to sheep farm and to produce meat and wool, there will be a certain minus on the quality of the meat. So it's up to you to choose, but this time I would leave as it is. What happens is that there's also technology level involved. That means you will not be able to produce wool higher than quality 6.06. So we have to be aware of that. But naturally, because this is livestock, you can actually jump in and try to purchase some sheep from someone. For example, here I see this guy selling sheep of quality 3.84, which means he's breeding sheep for sale, which is good. Why not? That's great. Also, you can see that there is certain personnel required and certain qualification is required regarding the livestock quality, which means there are certain animals, let's say certain breeds, and they require attention, special attention or knowledge how to work So qualification of employees, once again, is an important factor. And you know already how to manage your employees. So we can jump to livestock. Now, the livestock management is a little bit different from the equipment, and it's not just wear and tear. Depending on the quality of your sheep you have in your main buildings or in pinfolds, and in pinfolds are the sheep that are meant to be sold for others. There's a certain quality of minimal forage quality that is required. If it's below that, as you can see, there's a health bar. That's right. Animals get sick and then die. So technically, if you invest your money into sheep and for them to be, well, to breed them or to produce any kind of products like meat or wool, you'll be losing your investments. So you have to be careful there. And naturally, if you run out of forage, sheep will be dying very fast because, well, they have nothing to eat. So always be aware of the food you require. This is a bit of problematic because later on, as you can see, the quality is only one. Well, I need to feed them anything right now, so I'll choose this supplier. Hopefully there will be someone who will be able to provide me quality goods. Right, so the supply tab is similar to any other things. When you go to production, we can see what kind of quality of things we produce here. And once again, we can choose to sell to, well, only to my companies for a certain amount, let's say 5. So here we are. We're selling wool. It is, once again, quite similar to what you have, let's say, in a factory. Just the difference is that you can also choose to move a certain amount of sheep to your pinfolds. That means to be active for selling. So that's like a wholesale of the animals. Now the problem is that you have to be aware that you have to choose a specific specialization for that because you will run out of sheep that are necessary to produce the necessary goods that you plan to have initially. All right? So that, roughly speaking, covers all the business units that you, let's say, subdivisions. What we're left with are the offices. Now, as you can see, you have business units in Spain and business units in Germany. In order to open any kind of business unit or subsidiary or subdivision, first you need to have an office or administrative unit in that country or region of the country. Only then you can have or simply manage other business units. How do offices work? Well, pretty similar to any kind of business unit. It has size. You can increase the size of the office when it is necessary to create new workplaces. Hire employees. We've gone through that part as well. The only difference is that, similar to a factory, you will require computers simply to do more work more efficiently. Computerization level will be below that if you don't have enough. The equipment, however, well, once again, it also wears down, but the quality of equipment, once again, will affect the required qualification of employees. Naturally, you want to have the staff efficiency at 100% and workload level below 100%. Why? If your staff is working inefficiently, they will have, or your, let's say, equipment of your personnel is not working efficiently, that will affect the end work efficiency of the business unit, and that means the office. The problem is that as a result, mistakes and lack of efficiency in the office will affect all the business units that are its supervision, which means if the office in Bilbao is below 100%, let's say 10%, let's say its efficiency is 90%. Sheep farm and weaving mill will automatically drop to 90%. Even though they're doing well, due to slacking personnel in the office, they will be not very happy. Imagine payrolls coming late or advertising being done poorly. That's quite a pain. So you have to be careful, because if you scroll down a bit in any kind of farm, you will see that there is such a thing as office efficiency you have to watch for, because it affects the end work efficiency as a result. So that shows, let's say, how many possibilities we can. We here have a vertically integrated business structure where you can run clothing factory, weaving mill, and also sheep farm. that has full production line, or let's say fully manageable production line for self-sufficient business. And any good you can see or sell here in stores can be manufactured. That means you can actually manage all the factories and create fully self-sufficient business in order to provide to yourself all these goods and simply sell them in stores. Also, you can sell them as a wholesaler directly from factories or also warehouses. Do you have any questions so far on this matter?
Just in advance, I would like also to comment that today we're sharing the little part of our possibilities. Maybe those ships are not very much interested for you because you're not from that field, but this is one of our possibilities. And regards the industries, there are more than 25. Oil well, aviation, plants, service sector, retail, I mean, fitness centers, beauty centers, just from my women's side. Almost everything. Mm-hmm. Yes. So that's why it's too much details for today's session. The main goal is that we have created very simple scenario for you, so that like to be able to go as a brief demo and try yourself to manage, for example, retail, maybe some factory or those like ships, just to understand the logic. And when you do, after that, we are able to go farther and farther. But the main goal is that, for example, because both of you are business trainers as far as I know. So, for example, if there's a request from some bank or from some, electricity like sector, you are able on your own or with us to create the specific template so that you would be able to focus your participants on that and avoid all other not necessary information for them. For example, if it's some oil well, of course, they will not be interested in beauty centers, which I do. Yes, as an example. Okay, so passing...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
The idea what Adelina is simply trying to tell that this is a scalable solution, honestly. And the simple path regarding this is that what you can go through is scale down to a specific business structure or activities, right? So simply can do that easily.
Okay, and regards the, for example, possible solutions, short time, for example, few hours training on-site with personal assessment included, treated by trainers located in the classroom with students, participants, employees. But the main, possibility, not the main, but very good possibility is that you're able to conduct such kind of trainings in online mode with live moderation for unlimited number of users at the same time. Imagine there's some corporation having departments in India, US, and to Australia. Yes, how much would it cost to gather all those managers at one place to lead the training and, for example, organize some team building? It's a lot of expenses. It's a lot of time. So time is money. If you don't work, if you are just on the trainings all the time, so also not very useful. In this case, we do have the solution that unlimited number of users, one day, for example, event, a few days event, possible for team buildings and training and assessment programs, and that's it. Less spending, high efficiency, and no loss due to work time and money. And another thing is that you're able to conduct long time courses. This is very much suitable at educational organizations and at corporate training centers where, for example, they're providing corporate trainings for long term. You're able to conduct 1 month, 2 months, 1 year training even for group or for individual users, and they will be able to spend, for example, 5 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day in the simulation. So that also no time like taking from the working hours, and HR moderator trainer will be able to take the final results and also to track the results during all the games. So what was the situation at the beginning, what was the situation in the middle of the training and so on, because this data is getting saved. So coming back just to summary, 3 modes, on-site, online, blended, short time, and long-time trainings. And ready solutions, which we have, this is very simple. We have much more complex for CEOs, for example, or high-level management, and development on your own, because I deeply believe you do have your projects, for example, as project management, yes, or some other content. So please, you have your content, there's our simulation, we are able to create it together so that to focus according to our workshops and content, the practice oriented, because practice is with there is equal skills, which is very much needed in our days. Minvydas, here also you are able to ask some questions if you're have completed your tasks in the simulations, and afterwards we have meetings tomorrow set up already with a number of you, so we will come back to the details.
Roughly speaking, what you have, let's say if we go a little bit more into detail, how we create it. We recreate certain activities or business structures. Maybe it's not directly represented. Sheep farm or wool can be represented different kind of product. But in the process, as you can see, there are a lot of operations that need to be, well, executed, lots of decisions that need to be made. And that's exactly how we create it, either stressful situation, less stressful. But the decisions have to be data-based, analysis-based, market analysis-based, and strategical thinking that comes in. So also overall, what is required by the participants, what is developed by the participants overall, is a systematical understanding of seeing of, let's say, overview of the business, which, in my opinion, and by if we take a look at a lot of reports from the market analysis, is that this point is quite lacking overall globally, I believe. So, would you like some more time to improve your stores and simply to see who will end up on top?
There's also one question from our colleague.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's say in your case, we see that you have a little bit too much of the production. There are two ways we can do. One, increase the store size.
Sorry, I will interrupt because our other participants are don't understand what is the topic about.
So the question is, if let's say you have a store, and initially we had stores of the size of 100 square meters, and we received each 1,000 units of 4 different products, which means for a store of a size of 100 square meters, that's a little bit too much. Well, okay, not a little bit, that's quite too much. There are two things that can be done. You open a warehouse and move products to the warehouse. So right now there are no warehouses, so I can show you how that works. We go to new subdivision, open a warehouse, let's say in Germany, because we have a store there. Anywhere that is cheap. How about in Dresden? So there we go. We choose manufactured goods, specific product specialization, small one. Here we have it. So this is a warehouse. See a new business unit. You go to trade hall and then click on a yellow car, let's say, to move a certain amount of goods right away from the store. And that's what you do. And you just type in the amount of units you want to move, right? And that's exactly what you will do. For example, see I have 689 and move 50 units, and that's exactly what happens. Those units are moved. So in that specific way, we can remove, let's say, the excess production. That's one. The other way around is simply increase the store size. Because if you increase the store, the warehouse will increase, and then naturally the occupancy will be smaller because you will have more place to place all the goods. So in this case, it's really up to you the way you want to do it. There's another possibility to go to supplies, specifically to, let's say, remove the product right away by clicking on this box and simply eliminating remaining goods, which means you're eliminating all these goods that are here without any kind of profit. So you're simply throwing them away. So that's definitely not what you want to do, trust me. So in this case, but if that's the case, or for example, you run out of good, you can simply eliminate that product from your product list also by the same way. depending if, I don't know, how you want to do it. If let's say you see this a dead product and it's not selling, it's up to you how to do it. But if you just throw it away, that means you're losing money also. So it's up to you. But there are many ways to manage those goods, either through the moving to warehouse, either throwing away, or increasing the store size and then selling, or simply making a sale where you decrease the price and you, let's say, guarantee a certain stable sales process as it goes. Up to you, really. All right. Also, there is a possibility to actually to try and take a business booster. And that works with the warehousing. So technically, warehouse expenses reduced by 50%, which actually help a little bit. Not the best thing, but still something. But in this case, if you see, for example, in this scenario, in this case, you receive 100 square meters and they are not enough. So the best thing, what you could do, actually go in there and simply increase the store size. And we have the recalculation and we have the ratings. And we can see that, well, we have the NLTD actually in number 1 place with the best cumulative revenue. Well, actually, you and NL Industries, you share position number 1 and 2, but probably due to the profits being, though if we look at the cumulative profits, and Industries are doing better, even though their revenues are a little bit lower. So I see that NL Industries, it tried to get that profit a little bit, investing a little bit too much, but well, that's what happened. And I see that, well, Matthias, it didn't work. Okay, it happens. But the problem is that when you tend to invest quite aggressively and plan a lot of operations at the same time, this is exactly what happens. So sometimes you slightly overdo it and, well, it doesn't exactly work that way. So still, that's a great environment to practice, experiment, and see how aggressive expansion could actually, well, not exactly work out right away. So you have to be careful here, right? So still, you're new, so this is understandable, and I don't see any problem here. Just let's say someone got a little bit more, someone got a little bit less lucky in this situation. But practice makes perfect, so that's exactly what you can do. And the best thing is that you can practice not exactly on a real business, but actually here in a simulator. So there's no way a company would get into a situation like this, all right? Any questions so far?
You mean with this is Matthias Simformer team?
Yes.
Yes, Matthias.
That's you're in Simformer team. Well, I gave you my demo account.
Bronze.
So, yeah. All right. Fine.
Olympic.
Okay. So we have bronze, silver, and gold. Congratulations, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if so, I wonder how much did I earn? Well, not that much. Not that much. Probably be somewhere good. But hey, this is not exactly fair for me to compete with you. So let's leave it at that. So, as you can see, there are certain things, a certain tab you don't have, that is training, and this is the instructor account. This is exactly the way I can see how you are performing. As you can see, there are certain trainings. So Asia and Europe as a group, which was, we started today, earlier, and North and South America, this is where you are, and you can see that there are certain participants active. So here I can set up and use a different kind of setups where for different kind of scenarios. Some of them, for example, like operation in distress. That's one thing. Cloth road. This is what we are having right now. Very similar structure, a little bit different, but still the same business structure. And so all of these have different kind of purposes and goals, both learning and training goals. So what the main idea is to actually go through the exactly understanding what you want your clients and your employees, your trainees to actually learn. And depending on that and your, as I mentioned, learning and training goals, we develop a very clear scenario how to do that. So this is one of those. Choose it, simply restart it, and there it is. You will receive either a startup position or a specific business company structure you have to manage. Well, it depends on your goals and either way you want. So when I click here on a specific country, a specific company, because if you click it on the company of the competitor, you will receive a lot less information. Me, being a coach, I can see a lot more. I can see the very detailed information about the work efficiency, about other things that are being done, and at the same time, as well as I can see financial reports of the business unit. I can see the trade hall, right? With all the info, what is sold out, what is at zero, and what's happening. I mean, is that for what? Was that price good? Was that price not good? Maybe a little bit over the board, and so on and so forth. So, and also can see the suppliers list. So at this time, a lot of information just to see how you're doing. Are you doing well? To analyze the data right away here, or receive reports and see how well it's doing. If we're talking also about the reports, there is a possibility to overview the analytics. That's mostly specific for retail oriented. So we can choose a specific participant and see the changes in sales. For example, we can see that this is a specific store, and you can see the time is going through, and we can see change in sales. So we can see that certain timeline was more efficient than some of it was not. So if you remember, Noel actually had a very, if I pronounced right, I'm sorry. You had a chance to actually you were leading at some point, but then something happened, and well, because you ran out of goods and it didn't build up the supply chain, you had nothing to sell, and that's the problem. So because you don't have anything to sell, you don't have income, you don't have profit, and that's that's the way it works. So naturally, that's a very good way to see how people think, how business aware they are, how competitive they are. Do they analyze the situation? Do they analyze the market? There's their entrepreneurship within their actions and their motivation, as well as decision making, their prioritizing, and so on and so forth. So we can track the change in a lot of activities, as well as employees. We can track the change, the number of employees, what was required, as well as required is affected by the amount of goods you have, what was the quality of service, as well as we can see the marketing, and we can see how much it was invested, what was popularity, change in popularity, as well as the visitors, right? So let's say in this case, there are various market reports we're also adding and developing as we speak, and at the same time we can see the ratings, where these can be changed a bit depending on the things you want to prioritize, right? Depending on the training as well. So in this case, I believe I can, if you have any questions on the either right now or probably later, then if later we will have meetings, so a chance to meet, and you can give your questions. And naturally, if you don't, then I'll pass my word to Adelina then.
Thank you, Midvidas, for, first of all, amazing presentation. I liked it very much. Now coming back to a short overview, as Matthias, we are going to have a meeting tomorrow, more detailed on possibilities on development. So how about maybe regards the overview, and with Noam, I did speak before, and we had a number of sharing the details and overview. So how do you think, how would you like to organize it, separately or today all together? Because as you see, number of participants of teams, they did not attend, possibly the other day. And just coming back to possibilities, yes, development according to any level of complexity of the training, according to the people, the employees, the students you're going to train, new joiners, CEOs, high-level management, middle-level management. For example, there is a possibility if this is an international huge company and new joiners are coming to the company, why to waste, for example, 2 weeks on introduction or an explanation of how these business units are being organized how the subdivisions are being organized in the corporation. Provide them the same scenario similar to the process organization in the company. Tell them to be like a CEO of the company, and in that way managing different kind of subdivisions. For example, if it's an international company, like responsible for sales starting with raw materials gathering. In this way, you will be able to create picture. Switching the roles between users, for example, if they're from different departments with different responsibility, going through the simulation, they're able to, like playing in a team, they're able to understand how important it is to share the knowledge, to share the responsibilities, and like not to be too much selfish, yes, in the company. And think only about yourself, because the main result will be different. So different possibilities: short time, long time, on-site, online, blended, development, 25 industries, more than 30 like markets to play with. Additional process integration is also possible due to specific request. Let's speak possibly tomorrow, separately, because a little bit different cases and needs of you, and it will be a little bit useful. But for now, I hope that the simulation itself, which you went through today, it was helpful from the perspective of the end user. Let us know. If you don't mind, I will send you a very, very little questionnaire in order to understand maybe some feedbacks you would provide for further next demo sessions organization, because we have just started. It's our third session, because we understood that the best option to understand how it works is to play on your own. Hope it was good. So thank you for your attention. If no more questions, see you tomorrow, and get in touch tomorrow. Later on, and adios.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Bye. Bye.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.